Today, what we're going to talk about is an SHTF scenario in an urban environment. Stick around. All right, guys, so if you're like me and you live inside of an urban environment such as a major metropolis, more than about 3 million people, you might want to stick around for this video. It will be a lecture only. I do have some gear here I'm going to go over, but I want to make sure that my friends, my people, my subscribers, everybody is getting out there and getting after it as far as preparations. Now, we do know that Ukraine and Russia have their own little thing going on, but if you notice, gas prices, food prices, all the prices are going up. You should have some cash at hand, but more importantly, you should have enough preparation in your house where you live for at least 90 days. We're going to talk about that today. All right, guys, so if you were like me and you were around for the New York City riots or rioting across the nation, you know how people are. We are basically 9 meals away from complete chaos. You know what's going on in the world. I don't have to explain it anymore. The SHTF, or shit hits the fan scenario, is when everything stops moving. We lose communications, we don't have internet, we don't have satellite, we're basically on our own. Whatever that is, whether somebody drops a nuke on us, or civil unrest, or the stock market crashes, those kind of things. It is going to be a battle for resources. If you can think about that, if you learn nothing else today, learn about the resources. This is what we do every single day. You go to work to make enough money to buy food, to get water, to pay your bills. We pay for water, we pay for electric, we pay for housing, we pay for fuel. Those are resources. When those resources stop, the person that has those resources is the one that's going to be in charge, but also you need it for your everyday survival. Now, we don't live in an environment such as a wooded area where you can go out and hunt and fish. We have to depend on our grocery stores, our shipping, our trucks, our trains. That's how we get food and nourishment inside our bodies, okay? Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, move out of the city, move out of the city. If you cannot, or if you have not, it's probably too late anyway. So what I need you to do is to go out there and get your resources now. Speaking of resources, people are also a resource, especially when we're talking about security, and we're going to get into security in a minute. People are either going to help you or hurt you. It's that simple, guys. You need to start building a community within yourself, within your friends, within your coworkers, whoever it is, all right? It is a tribe mentality. I'm not sure if you guys remember the autonomous zone. I think it was in Oregon or Portland, and I might be mistaken, but I'll drop a link for that, where the U.S. governor there, or the mayor, decided that hands off, and what they did is they took over a police station in like a 4-block radius. This is what I'm talking about. Those people in there created basically their own system of living. The weak were weeded out, the weak were shot, the people were killed, they had dumpster fires. And who is in charge? Quote unquote, the warlords. I need you to start thinking in terms of tribes. I need you to start thinking of people that don't have society, don't have internet, people in Africa, people in jungle nations, in the tropics, whatever. They live in a tribe. The reason they live in a tribe is because of safety and protection, and they have more resources to get food, water, procreate, make more babies, that kind of thing. But protection's going to be key. So now you're going to have to decide, are you going to stay in your location, which most people will? If you looked at the evacuation that's going on in the Ukraine, nobody can get out. The cities, the streets, everything was a mess. Most people got out by either buses or trains, so public transportation, and the only thing they were able to carry is what they can carry on their person. So, quote, bug out bags kind of worked in that situation. Understand that that's not always going to be the case. If you have sick, if you have elderly, if you have children, it's going to be very, very hard to travel. And again, where are you going? Do you have a preset location? That kind of thing. Those are some of the tough decisions you're going to have to make. If you're going to stay in place, shelter in place, which is great, and you're in a city environment, you're going to have to find a way to protect those goods, those items, that kind of thing. All right, so let's talk about food. All right, I know this is just a can of Spam or whatever. I just wanted to use a prop there. But let's talk about food. Again, like I said, in the city environment, it has to be trucked, shipped, or trained in. There's no way to get food into the city other than that. There are things that you can eat, however. Four-legged creatures. I hate to say it, but a cat, a dog, a pet is meat. Okay, it's walking meat. Keep it alive for as long as you can, but you might have to come to the harsh reality that it's another mouth to feed, and once Fido runs out of food, you might have to eat him or her. Living in a city, rodents. Nobody really wants to eat a rodent, but you can get mouse traps. You can get any type of traps. We do have possums, so I've noticed a couple possums even in this large city. Raccoons very easily. They are scavengers. They are probably not the best tasting, but that's how you're going to have to look at food as four-legged creatures. Can you grow food in a pot? Yeah, but you need dirt and you need seeds. Do you have that stored away? That kind of thing. Also, once you start growing a backyard garden or a rooftop garden, now you have to find a way to protect it. Water is probably going to be the biggest problem. If you have a spring or a well nearby, that's fantastic. Most of us live on city water, and it does have enough chlorine and preservatives in it that you can store your water. What you have to do is get those 5-gallon drums. This is not going to be enough water. You need at least 3 gallons of water per person per day. And I know somebody's going to say it's only 1 gallon of water. Yes, it's 1 gallon of water to drink. But if you're cooking, if you need to cook, you need to bathe, you need water. It's very difficult to store water in an apartment, in an urban environment. I get it. They have those bathtubs, bladders that you can get. Any receptacle that you can use to store water, I highly recommend it. I'm going to put a bunch of links down below. 5-gallon stackable drums is a start. Okay, it's a start. If you can get a 50-gallon drum, that's a start. 3 gallons of water per day minimum. Shelter. Let's talk a little bit about shelter. Now, I have my little rain poncho here as a shelter. Again, in a bug out situation, that works great. Your shelter is going to be where you live. Do you have to go underground? Is there nuclear fallout? Is there maybe your house is underwater, that is no longer shelter, and you lost all the items that you needed, right? So how do we do this? Well, plans, backup plans to the backup plans, all right? So here's the thing. I have family that doesn't live too far from here, but they're not really stocked. How do I work with that? If my house is flooded or my house is in the danger zone, can I move over? Can I bring most of the stuff? Is my food and water portable? Can I take it with me? How much can I take with me? So shelter is going to be huge, guys. As far as nuclear fallout, as far as winter, that kind of thing, you're going to have to figure it out. It's not going to be easy. Let's talk about communication, all right? If the internet goes down, now this is just a simple Baofeng radio, 8-watt. You can get these real cheap. If you don't have a couple of these already on your person, you better get them. They're selling for about $60. You can get the whole kit with the mic and everything else for about $100 now. These things at one time were like $35. They're already $100 because people are preparing. Again, I'll put the link down below. They do have VHF, UHF, so you can get channels on here for ham radio. You can use walkie-talkie or point-to-point. You can also get the weather channel. You can also use it as a police or fire scanner, all in this one little radio. Ideally, what you're going to use those radios for is communications between your tribe. Remember what I'm talking about, tribe. So have everybody purchase one. Listen, for $100 or $60 right now will save you a lot of pain and problems later. I'm not just talking about radios. I'm talking about signals. Back in the Middle Ages, they used to use bells. Why? Because you would hit a big bell, it would signal that somebody is coming or there is danger. If you have flares, if you have smoke, those are the things that you need to start thinking about, all right? If there's an imminent threat in Sector Boy or Zone Z or whatever it is, you're going to have your sentries signal. Security, talking about sentries. Security is going to have to be a 24/7 thing. I know a lot of people don't like to do guard duty. Have those people trained? Are those people military or police or security units? Have those people make sure that they are reliable. Don't put them on shift for 12 hours and think that they're not going to fall asleep at their post, because they will. Have them go in twos. Make sure that they are proficient with some type of firearm, regardless of what it is. I know there's a lot of preppers out there that love 22s, and I like 22s too, but a shotgun is probably going to be a little bit better in some type of security situation. If you have an AR-15, some states or cities don't allow you to have AR-15s. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my 5-shot deer gun in 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor and put one of my snipers on the roof. He's the best place to do security because he can see from afar. He's at a high location. He has some type of communication and can call the command bunker or the command center and tell people. Or medical. All right. This is one of my med bags. I have med bags stored all over my house. I have them in my cars. I have them in my bug out location. I have all that stuff. Medical is going to be important. During COVID, they wouldn't allow you in the hospitals anymore unless you were extremely sick. People had to wait outside. People had to go to the hospital. They were not sending ambulances. Ambulances were running at a skeleton crew. You had to find yourself, and you had to find transportation, get yourself to the hospital, and check yourself in. If we're talking about immediate trauma, yes, we can do that, but a surgeon or surgery might not be an option. So you have to be realistic about what's going to happen. If you have medical issues that you are not taking care of, take care of it now. If you have tooth problems, ear problems, nose problems, problems with broken bones, or your hands don't work, whatever the case is, fix it now. Don't wait. Elective surgeries were ceased and stopped during COVID because they needed to take care of all these people. Nurses and doctors and EMTs are people too. They need to take care of their own, just like police and fire. Don't depend on police and fire to show up to anything during an SHTF scenario. So let's talk about fuel. How are you going to heat your home? How are you going to cook? How are you going to sterilize water? How are you going to do that? Now, again, in an urban environment, it becomes a little bit difficult because we are solely dependent on gas. Mostly gas, some oil. Gas and oil, can you store it? Did you put enough preservative in there? If you put preservative, if you have gas cans, it'll probably last about a year, maybe a little bit more. But again, you're going to have to refill it at some point. And again, in an SHTF scenario, you may not be able to get to that gas station, and it may be under control by a warlord. And now you're going to have to pay a tax or have to fight for it. Can you burn furniture? Sure. Probably not the best thing because it's full of all kind of chemicals and press board, which is not a good idea to burn. But think about it in those terms. Propane is great, but it also runs out. Solar, better. Okay, if you have a solar oven, but that's going to take a long time, and you're going to have to rely on the sun. Depending on what the scenario is, it might not be useful. You can get an electric generator. Great. If you can have a solar power, get the electric battery, and then use that battery to heat up water or to use it to connect the stove, that's all great. But again, that's going to depend on solar. Batteries only last so long. Fuel only lasts so long. You're going to have to figure this out. Let's talk a little bit about intel gathering. Right now you're watching this on your computer, okay? Maybe your computer doesn't work. Maybe you don't have a camera. We all have these really nice iPhones, okay? Excellent quality, excellent video quality, picture quality, all that stuff. It's fantastic. That might not be available. So what I like to do is I like to write everything down. Information, intel, what's going on, the who, what, when, where, and how of any situation is going to have to be sent back to your command and control, wherever that is and whoever is in charge. You don't have to be in charge. You just have to work with who's ever in charge. You might not like them. However, if you need to survive a situation, you might have to work with them. There's a very fine line between ego and getting things done. put your egos aside if you're going to survive it. You have to look at the big picture. You need to make sure that your family's okay. You need to make sure that the people that you love are okay and that everybody's doing their job. And that's what I'm talking about, intel. You need information. If you can get photos, if there's a group of another warlord or another roving band, or people are opportunists. If you watch during the riots, people were murdering each other. People were looting, and they were stealing, and they were breaking shops, and they still had food. What do you think is going to happen when no one has food, water, or a way to sustain themselves? Think about it in those terms. People are, again, only 9 meals away from complete chaos. You need intel. You need to know who is who's broaching in on your sector or zone. Are people going to help you or hurt you? Medical is going to be huge. If you can set up a medical aid station, that's great. You need to scan everybody that's coming in to help you out. All right, listen, I'm going to provide you medical attention, but now I need you to go stand 12 hours or 8 hours of sentry duty, okay? Those types of things, and not a lot of people are going to want it. You're going to have to decide. You're going to have to make that decision. And lastly, what I wanted to talk about, which I already touched on a little bit, is a little bit of command and control. Command and control, again, if you're working with a family of 4, it's not going to be very easy. If you're working within a tribe, depending on who your tribe is, hopefully they are like-minded individuals. Hopefully you had somebody that you can gather. Hopefully they had all the training. Hopefully you have done scenarios to enhance their capabilities. Is it going to be perfect? No. Especially when people are hungry. You cannot take everybody in and then expect them to do the job. Most people will be desperate. Most people will be hungry. What's going to happen when somebody hands you an infant that's crying because they are hungry? All right. These are some real hard questions that you're going to have to answer for yourself. And I would suggest answering them right now. All right, guys, thank you very much. I need you to like, subscribe, share. If you like this video, if you have some comments, put them down below. I'm sure I made a mistake and the internet loves to correct me. So thank you very much for that. Any of the items or the things that I spoke about, I will put down below in the links. Go to threeriverblades.com if you're looking for an awesome handmade knife. Go to 3 River Kydex if you are looking for a holster or a mag pouch. Do all that good stuff for me. I really appreciate it. And as always, guys, stay safe.